A couple of nights ago, I saw the weirdest thing. It was about 1 in the morning, and I wasn't sleepy at all. It couldn't have been a dream because I was nowhere near tired. Hoping to wind down, I went to the family room and turned on the TV. We do have a DVR box through Verizon, and everyone in the family picks a few shows they like to record. Of course, with 2.5 bronies in the house, Friendship is Magic was set to record every episode and kept up to 7. I scrolled through to see the ones that had recorded and picked up the one at the very bottom, unwatched, Dragon Shy. Dragon Shy is one of my favorites. However, the teaser, was not Dragonfly. Not even close. I'm used to the TV guy saying one episode is airing, but it actually switched out at the last minute. But this was something else. It wasn't any episode I recognized, and you'll believe me when I say I've watched them all. It was surreal, though. It was Twilight Sparkle, pacing around in her bedroom, listing all the things she had to do that day: return a book, visit Fluttershy, yada yada yada. And then she said, "Spike, are you getting this?" It showed Spike's bed, but instead of him, it was a cute little Spike-looking rag doll with button eyes and polka dot patch on the seat. It looked absolutely adorable. Twilight laughs, and then we go to the opening. To further confuse matters, the opening music was Enhanced Season 2 song, but there was no train or anything. It had this video of Season 1 opening, much for placing it in the timeline, unless it was a leaked Season 3 episode and they were done pushing train toys at that point. After the opening, there were commercials. I fast forward through them, but from the looks of it, they were all just normal commercials. Then the show came back to show Twilight in Sugar Cube Corner, the Spike doll on her back. The title was Half Baked Sun Cakes. Twilight was pacing back and forth, giving some plot explanation about how they were making special cupcakes for Princess Celestia to thank her for letting her and Twilight stay in Ponyville, as well as all of her friends. Pinkie was supposed to be making them, when Twilight would use her unicorn magic to put some sunshine and put them on the cupcakes, making them sun cakes. Twilight was all alone, but she was talking like she was talking to her friends. Then she started reacting to something that wasn't happening. From what I could gather, Twilight suddenly realized the cupcakes were missing. She began looking around and asking questions, and it was I realized that she was talking directly to her friends who weren't there. She was responding like they were talking to her too. It made it hard to follow, and I can't remember of what she said, but it would be like this, for example. Twilight says, "Fluttershy, where have you been all day?" And normally Fluttershy would say, "Oh, I've been tending to my animals all day." Then Twilight would say, "Oh well, give Angel my best then." Except she would say, "Fluttershy, where have you been all day?" Then pause for 3 beats. Enough time to register a significant pause, but not actually long enough for another pony to say anything meaningful. And then she would say, "Oh well, give Angel my best then." Twilight then moved on and acted like the ponies were off screen. And in fact, the camera was positioned to where the other ponies should have been in frame, but it was just Twilight. Anyway, I think Pinkie Pie started panicking because Twilight kept telling her to calm down, and that's when they would find the cupcakes. She pulled out a magnifying glass with her hammer space and began looking for clues. The rest of the first act was all of her looking for clues, asking the Spike doll to write them down, and questioning the other ponies. It would have been any other ordinary show, except that Twilight seemed to be the only pony of all of Ponyville, because there was no one here to question. She began to get flustered, but the cute kind of flustered like the end of Look Before You Sleep, not the creepy flustered from Lesson 0. There were plenty of jokes and cute moments, but I was too busy trying to figure out what I was missing, besides every other pony's existence, to try to retrain any specifics. Finally, it was time to go to Canterlot, even though the cakes were still missing. Twilight looked nervous, as she was afraid of what Celestia would say if Twilight arrived empty-handed after promising a surprise. After the commercial, she was already in Canterlot. Canterlot was abandoned too. She walked up to the castle around the palace grounds, stopping to introduce her friends to the old guards in place and workers she used to know. Again, Twilight was the only pony. And then when she got to the throne room, her ears dropped and her tail hung. It went, "Daw." She then headed inside, apologizing for not bringing the cupcakes. She promised she tried her hardest to find them after they disappeared, and she was sorry that she let Celestia down. I didn't know that what Invisible Celestia was saying to Twilight, but whatever it was, she slowly started to lift her head up. Her eyes brightened, and her tail stopped hanging. She looked happy, and then the music changed, and they were staring at a musical number. Hot dog, a sneak preview of the new episode, and a musical number? It sounded incredibly familiar, and after the first few bars played, I realized it was. No kidding. Schubert's Ave Maria, if you know it was arranged from Daniel Anagram. Twilight was singing, and I swear it was Tara Strong's voice, not Rebecca Schwartzett, because the whole song was accompanied by some of the most beautiful imagery I have ever seen in animated flash. It panned over to the alleys colored with wildflowers, and mountains blowing up with winds, and a cave belching with smoke, down to the ocean where the waves were at. When they broke to the shore, made a faint rainbow appear. The words were completely different, and all I could remember was what I jotted down. Ave Maria, birther of the sun, the beauty of our nights, the sunless days, Ave Maria, heaven's bride. Then it was over. It faded back to Twilight at Sugar Cube Corner. She was laughing, and I gathered what she had found the cupcakes. She explained Miss Cake had taken them out of the oven and turned them off, and then Mr. Cake flushed them with all the work of their new twins, though they needed to go in so they wouldn't be sitting in the oven this whole time. Twilight laughed, saying it was a good thing the oven wasn't hot. It looked like the gas range. She flickered the switch onto the stove and it didn't get light, but she acted like it did. Then came a letter. Dear Princess Celestia, something is wrong. Good friends help you. Because the more people help you, everyone's share of work adds up to less than it would have been alone. And a good friend understands when things don't always go the way you expected. This struck me as sweet as she was calling Princess Celestia a friend. Did you get all that, Spike? She asked the Spike doll. It sort of flopped on her back and she laughed. Then the creepiest goddamn thing happened. She stopped and her face looked of complete heartbreak. When it was Pinkie Pie thought of her friends didn't want to come to her party, it was like your face the first time you finished My Little Dashie. She sat down, looked at despair and ultimate sadness in her eyes. Now watering, sad stock music played in the background. The camera pulled back, showing her sitting empty in Sugar Cube Corner. Then it fades to the outside, still pulling back to show all of the empty Ponyville and into the clouds. Then the My Little Pony credits started and startled the crap out of me. There was an ad for Pound Puppies, some commercials, and the first minute of Family Guy family game night, and the recording was over. I was confused and was a little weirded out that I didn't even want to think about it. I just flipped the channels until I found Will and Grace or something. Something I knew I was behaving like I was supposed to, and then watched the channel until I fell asleep. The next morning I woke up and went to the DVD-R to try to find the episode again, only to realize with a sinking stomach that I forgot to mark it save until delete. And this morning's showing of Cutie Pox had pushed it off of the DVR. It's gone. Well, no worries, right? The Brony community is notorious for watching every single episode and going over them with a tooth-fine comb. I was sure since the episode aired, plenty of people uploaded to YouTube, discussed it ad nausea, and would have come to the conclusion that makes a lot more sense than what I saw. But I found nothing. A Google search of the episode's title turns up with and nothing relevant. No one's marked it on the Wikipedia, and being unconfirmed title of an upcoming episode. Not to mention of it being on Equestria Daily. No screen caps on My Little Brony, no spin-off or whatever analysis fanfic on filmfiction.net, no conversations about every little detail in every forum. It's like no one else saw the episode, and all of the Ave Maria notes. Someone has to know what I'm talking about, though. Has anybody seen this episode? Somebody has to seen the episode. Does it sound familiar to everyone? Seriously, I'm getting weirded out over here. Why was Twilight the last pony in Equestria?